morning, guys.
Morning.
How's everyone doing today?
Doing well. Nice and early, but for a Chelsea match, I guess I can't complain, right?
You're ready to wake up anytime, any day to watch it. It's the same for me. It is. I think it is. What time is it? 3:34 a.m. for me. How about you, Kishan? What time is it for you?
Damn, I love the dedication. For me in the UK, I'm in sync with Chelsea, so it's 11:35 for me. Nice and early, but not too early.
Oh, how about you, Lionel? What time is it for you?
Yeah, I'm chilling right in the afternoon. A good, nice 2:30 right now, which is fantastic. Yeah, so it works.
Yeah, the time difference, it can be a lot of problem. And welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. For those of you who's been here before, and for Dylan, this is your first time, right?
Yes, sir.
Welcome, brother. And in the chat, I can see Data. I can also see Steve Chelsea, always available, supporting Chelsea content creators all over. You guys, I appreciate you guys, and thank you for finding time to be here. So, gentlemen, I believe we've all seen the lineup already. We have Mendy between the sticks, Chalobah in the right center back, and in the middle of the back three, we have Thiago Silva. Rudiger takes his place as expected. James, right wing back, Jorginho and Kovacic, the double 6-6. Chilwell, left wing back. Callum Hudson-Odoi, Mount 2 10s or 2 8s, depending on how it is applied. And then Kai Havertz as the number 9. I'll start with you, Lionel. What do you think about the lineup?
I think for our defense, this might be our I don't know. Christensen fits in there somewhere, but it looks like it could be our strongest back line. I think Chalobah has been amazing. Obviously, there during the Brentford game towards the end there was a few issues, but I think that was part for the whole team. So so looking at the team, I would have preferred Ruben play this match. I think he's been playing amazingly, and he deserves to be part of the team. And yeah, I just hope that he just keeps getting better and better. But other than that, it's unfortunate that we don't have like either Timo Werner or Lukaku. But what to do? We've done this before. We've won games, like Tuchel said, we've won games without Timo Werner. We've won games without Lukaku. So hopefully we can do the same now.
Yeah. Well, how about you, Kishan? What do you think about the lineup overall?
Yeah, before we came onto the stream, I was speaking to Lionel, and that front three, I think, was pretty self-explanatory. When you look at who's out for us, I didn't feel like there was too much more that we could do there. So, as expected, I just want to see like Callum Hudson-Odoi run at his man a lot and put some work in that way and provide assists. I'd love to see sort of Havertz or Mount get on the score sheet as well. Apart from that, the team's pretty much standard. I think we had a debate about who would be in the middle of midfield. So we saw Cover was starting, and it was always sort of, we thought Ruben Loftus-Cheek might make it in with the way that he's been playing recently. But then at the same time, with that performance that Jorginho had, I know he scored 2 penalties, whatever, but with that man of the match, I just thought Tuchel won't leave him out. And then the back three is always changing, but like Lionel said, you really can't knock it because Chalobah is just slotted in like he's been there for years. So yeah, really strong team. I think out of the players available, it's probably one of the best teams that we could have picked, and fully expecting the 3 points.
Okay, great. Well, I'll still come back to something that Lionel highlighted there, but first I want to get Dylan's opinion on the lineup overall. Dylan, what do you think? You okay with it, or you think should have been different?
No, I like the lineup. I like that he kept Chilwell in. Keep the form going with him, to be honest with you. It's definitely shows a vote of confidence from Tuchel to see Chilwell back in there. And I think that this is one of the only times that we've really seen Chalobah and Silva play together this season. And I'm super excited for those two to play side by side together at this point. like the guys had mentioned, the front three is pretty, self-explanatory at this point with people that are available. I'm happy that Callum got that opportunity. We all saw Matt Law's article yesterday saying that, Callum needs to perform consistently, and another great performance today would show that consistency a little bit, in my opinion.
All right, good shot right there. Okay, now let's talk about something that's very obvious: the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, because you could argue in the past 3 or 2 games that he's played for us, he helped us solve a problem. We struggled against teams that defend deep. We struggled against teams that pressed us aggressively. But his inclusion made a great difference. It was there for everyone to see that his inclusion was the reason why we were able to play differently. And our opponents, no matter how they played, didn't matter. So, Lionel, coming to you, and what do you think about the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek from the lineup? Because it's not like anything happened to him. I believe he's fit. He's ready to play. But before you give me an answer to that question, I'd like the people in the chat to know we'll be doing a giveaway at least 30 minutes into the show, and everything will be on the screen. The winner, you will see the winner on the screen. So stay to participate. And if you know anybody else you would want to participate for the giveaway, it is an authentic Chelsea polo shirt. If you are outside the United States or the UK, you get the cash equivalent, which should be around $50. So now, Lionel, coming back to you, what do you have to say about the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek, given how pivotal he's been for us after we struggled 2 consecutive games, one being against Manchester City, where they pressed us aggressively and we couldn't play. We were startled. It just seemed as if we were clueless. We couldn't do anything. And then against Juventus, they defended so deep, we couldn't do anything with the ball until he was introduced into the game. And in the subsequent games that he played, we did better. So what you have to say about his exclusion from the lineup?
It's a tough one. I think, since Tuchel has arrived, he has been 98% right with these decisions. So, it's kind of hard to say that maybe he got it wrong or something like that. I think Ruben has been, because Ruben is such a fan favorite that anytime he's fit and he's playing a little bit well, we tend to get super excited and hope that he plays every single match. I just think from what I've seen in the 2 games maybe that he's played, I think he's a lot more agile than Jorginho is. He can get out of tight spaces quicker or easier than Jorginho does. And look, Jorginho has had an amazing year. It's like, they're talking about him for a Ballon d'Or. So I mean, whether you agree with it or not, the fact that he's even in the conversation and being spoken about means that he had a really good year. So you cannot take that away from him. If he's had maybe 1 or 2 games that weren't great, okay, sure, but still he is a pivotal part of this team. And so it just makes sense for him to when the choice comes, it's either Jorginho or Ruben. I think Jorginho, for now at least, will always be number 1. But I think Ruben will get his time. There's lots of games coming up. I mean, that goes for a lot of players. I think just a quick shout out to Ross Barkley, who the substitute appearances that he's made have been amazing. So it's just, we're seeing players like stepping up when they need to, and it's fantastic to see. And for Ruben, I think he should just be patient, and he keeps performing the way that he does, and you will see him play more and more.
Thank you. Well explained right there, but I am still not happy that he's not in the lineup, given how well he's played and how he's helped us solve a problem. Kishan, coming to you, what do you think about the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek?
It's similar to what Lionel said. I think with the qualities he alluded to, he's brilliant at beating pressure, running past the man, etc. But one thing I would say, and especially with the last game against Brentford, in that second half without Jorginho, I thought it was the obvious substitute to make, because we lost a lot of control in that game. Where if you look at the second half stats against Brentford, you can see them peppering our goal. And normally, I think the game I look back to was Aston Villa when I think we might have been just 1-0 up. And at that stage, we lost a lot of control and we brought on Jorginho, and that kind of changed the whole game for him. Look, for me, I'm not the biggest fan of that profile of Jorginho as well, because I feel like with that profile, you could be a bit more dynamic. You don't just have to be that sort of sitting, passing. But when he's not on the pitch, even I have to admit we do lose that bit of control, and I think that's why he's in there. I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek probably has more competition with Kovacic because they kind of like to get on the ball, drive with it, get out of tight spaces. So long term, I think he'd be looking at Kovacic as the one that he could try and displace in the team and not Jorginho, because profile-wise, it doesn't quite match. And whilst Tuchel's here in a possession-based system, I think Jorginho will always have his place.
So you're not concerned that Ruben is left out of the team?
I'm not concerned, and I think why else he might have done it is he must have one eye on that Carabao Cup tie on Tuesday, and I think Ruben Loftus-Cheek will definitely get minutes, which some people might look at as unfair because he's played so well in the league. But I think that sort of control mechanism that I was talking about when Jorginho is on the pitch would always work in Jorginho's favour. So I think if he needed to be in the team, it would be over Kovacic. But I'm not too sad to see Kovacic in there today, because I know Ruben Loftus-Cheek, it's not like when he's playing poor. His chances will come. But you have to remember that these players, Kovacic, Jorginho, they haven't let Tuchel down too much, and they won a huge prize last season. So it'll still take some time for Ruben Loftus-Cheek to get in. And if you look at his comments about Hudson-Odoi, he said just because he plays well against Norwich doesn't mean he's automatically in. Maybe we can translate that with a few more players. Just because they have good performances, he wants to see it more consistent.
Yeah, great point, or let me say argument right there. I understand where you're coming from, but really I'm still concerned that after all his how much he's helped us do well, it's in the games that he's played that he's on the bench. It's not like as if he's tired or he's injured, but that's okay. The manager, he's the one that trains with this guy. He has his reason for picking the 11 he's picked so far. So Dylan, I'll get to you, Helgi. Dylan, coming to you, what do you think about the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Are you concerned, or are you happy that he's not starting?
I'm not concerned necessarily. It's more so that I think Tuchel's kind of protecting himself a little bit, because we've known how Chelsea start in these occasions against a team that sits back in a low block. And while you want to continue to give Jorginho and Kovacic as a pairing the benefit of the doubt against these teams, you're going to definitely want to have an option off the bench in that midfield to kind of progress the ball a little bit further if you need it. So that's where Ruben kind of slides in today specifically. I think if you put Ruben in the second half, I think he's going to do some very Juventus-like things that he did in that game, where he kind of changed the dynamic of it. So I guess one of the questions might be, why not do it from the start? I think, like the guys had mentioned before, that, Jorginho and Kovacic are going to be hard to displace. And I think that, you look at these messages that Tuchel sends to the lineup every week with who's starting. I mean, it still shows to Ruben, hey, you got a long way to go, buddy. You're not just going to walk into this team every game just because you had a good run of form. So overall, I'm not too concerned about it. I think that we will see Ruben today regardless. So, and that's fine. We do technically want to ease him back in. While he hasn't been injured for a minute, that's still a mental thing that you have to overcome. So playing 90 minute after 90 minutes, it may gain him some confidence, but you also want to be patient with his body, because an injury would just be the worst thing at this moment for him when he's starting to gain that confidence. So overall, not too concerned, but I do believe we will see him for at least 30 minutes tonight.
Yeah, it's a good thing that he's on the bench at least. So worst come to worst, he'll be introduced to help solve a problem, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. While I understand the importance of rotating the team, but that is not the case, because he hasn't he didn't play the last game. He's not injured. But anyway, that's by the way. So thank you very much for taking some time explaining. That we could still see him before the end of the game. Helgi, coming to you, what do you think about the lineup overall and the exclusion of Ruben Loftus-Cheek? Were you surprised when you saw the lineup?
Well, the thing that surprised me the most about the lineup was the exclusion of Ngolo, because we didn't get an information regarding a sort of problem for him, or sort of physical fatigue and whatever. It was, of course, it must be a physical thing that he is not even on the bench today. Regarding the lineup overall, I'm pleased that we have a considerable number of attacking players who can progress the ball and create chances, with Mount and Hudson-Odoi behind Havertz, which can provide us a lot of flexibility in terms of attacking rotations. And we have the pivot of Jorginho and Kovacic to combine and to provide us that kind of central superiority. Regarding the second question, in terms of Ruben Loftus-Cheek being on the bench today, I think that it's a sort of a pattern for Thomas Tuchel to give some gradual inclusion to the players who have come from a long-term injury, or those who have been playing consistently for one game or two, and then he tries to decrease the pressure on everything that can hamper their development. He isn't that kind of young guy who can be like inexperienced or somewhat, but we shouldn't forget that he is just breaking after an unexpected way of events. He was close to leaving on loan, and he broke into that Man City. He was introduced against Man City and did well to overcome the pressure. He played against Aston Villa in a very dominant manner in front of the defense. He had his impact against Juventus to make us feel more dominant in terms of the positional discipline, and the way he burst forward is very influential, unique for the team in general. But I see this from Tuchel as a way to protect him regarding the media pressure that could have a possible consecutive run of games could bring to him. So I think it's a good decision. I wouldn't consider it as something that everyone could have expected, but I see a sort of way from the manager to protect him and to include him gradually, as he's doing with Hudson-Odoi, he's doing with Chilwell. He's starting again today. Not 2 or 3 weeks ago, people thought that he had lost his place, and now he's starting. So I'm not worried about that he will get his place back.
All right. I'm not worried whether he'll get his place back or not. I'm just not happy that he's not starting this game, because I don't see it as difficult. Maybe they could, at the end of the day, I could be wrong. I don't see Norwich coming at us. I see them defending, because most definitely I think we'll have more of the ball than they will. And at the end of the day, I think they will sit deep and try to hit us on a break. So Ruben, for me, would have been better off with Ruben on the pitch. But that's, by the way, I am not Thomas Tuchel. He knows what he's doing. And okay, let's start from the right-hand side of the formation, where you have Chalobah and you have James. But before we continue, I'd like also to remind people in the chat, where we're going to do a live giveaway. You will see it on the screen. If you're picked, you will see if you're the winner. And depending on where you are, if you're in the US, you get the authentic Chelsea polo shirt. Or if you're in the UK, you get authentic Chelsea polo shirt. Otherwise, you get the cash equivalent, which is around $50 or so. And the panel can also participate. So if you know anybody you would want to participate, reach out to them and let them know that we're going to do a giveaway in about 11 minutes or so. Now, starting from the right-hand side, Lionel, we have Trevor Chalobah as the right center back and Reece James as the right wing back. Usually what I've seen Tuchel do is when he has when Chalobah starts at the back, he usually starts Cesar Azpilicueta as the right wing back to have a bit of a defensive solidity, or when Azpilicueta starts as a right center back, then you see Callum Hudson-Odoi or as the right wing back. But in this case now, it doesn't look like we have experience in that right hand side. We have Chalobah, who is what's his age again? He's 22.
Mm-hmm.
And James also, in the same age bracket. Are you concerned about the lack of experience there? Because we have Timo Pukki, who is, even if he's 100 years old, the way he reads the game, he can outsmart even the best defenders in the world and get him behind them. Or I don't know how he does it, but he's been there for like a million years and he still does well. So are you concerned about those two in the right hand side?
No, I think from what I understand, I think this is more of in case of a counterattack type of match. I think Chelsea will dominate possession. We will be playing most of the football in their half, and it's just about having that quick defender or right back that can get back in time to do so. And sometimes with Azpilicueta, when he attacks, there needs to be that hard cover because he takes just a bit more time to get back into position. So I think the way Chalobah plays, he looks like he's been playing for 100 years also. He's so calm, he's so collected on the ball, he's strong, he outwits strikers most of the time. Like he just oozes confidence, and I don't see an issue with that at all, and I'm so excited to watch him play every single time because once again, a lot of rival clubs have been talking about how Chelsea just buys players and we buy players, and now we have this kind of reoccurring of youth players coming through the academy and getting a chance to play in the first team, which is fantastic, and they're proving to be top players. The Mason Mounts, Christensen, who's been amazing for club and country, and now Chalobah and Hudson-Odoi and James, obviously. So, but so I'm just especially when Chalobah plays, I'm super excited. I think he has so much to give, and I think he's world class.
So you're really not concerned about Timo Pukki's ability to read the game and outsmart even the.
Not really. I'm not really concerned about Norwich, to be honest. I know it can be one of those games where you kind of like, oh, we should, get 3 points easily. And, sometimes it happens because this is the Premier League after all. But it's just the way they've been playing and, kind of the results that they've been putting together and how they're getting those results. Yes, they haven't conceded that many goals, but still they haven't been that, like Brentford, who's on the front foot, who gives you a game. Norwich is not doing that. So I'm not really concerned about that. I'm just, like I was speaking earlier with the guys, like my concern is how do we penetrate those defenses that defend so hard? How do we get through? How is the ball moving quick enough? Are we flowing? And that's what's more important. And with teams like this is what we need to look at.
Yeah, you did say something that's concerning to me also, that why they call us Charity FC. I hope that's not the case today. Usually when you think with mop the floor with the team, we end up not getting anything, even a single point out of the game. I hope that has changed. Coming to you, Kishan, what do you think about the lack of experience on the right hand side of the lineup, where we have Chalobah as a right centre back and also James and as a right wing back, given Timo Pukki's ability to outsmart defenders, even though he's not quick?
Yeah, I'm similar to Lionel as well. Where I think Puki's past his best as well. When you look at how good he was 2 seasons ago when he was banging them in for fun, he's not even that same player anymore. But I do get you. You always have to be wary with these kind of players. They always seem to do well against us. Him, McGoldrick, Robinson, the list goes on. So we do have to watch them. But again, I don't really see Reece as this non-experienced guy anymore, because he's been in there, he's played quite a lot of games. And Chalobah similarly, like, I know he's not got as many games for us, but he's played sort of more than 100 odd games on loan, etc. So he knows the game as well, and I'm sure he won't switch off and let anything stupid in on that side. Similar to Lionel, when you're saying that the only concern is sort of penetrating Norwich's defense. I think when we have Callum Hudson-Odoi on the pitch, I'm a lot more confident of that, because he actually gets on the ball. And if you remember the Southampton game, some of the football we were playing in that first half was actually really, really good. We were just unlucky to not go into 2-0 up with the foul.
But sorry, Kishan, just sorry to interrupt. Like, this is my issue with Hudson-Odoi, is because we expect him to be this player that takes on the defenders, that is almost on that like Eden Hazard-esque type of football, and he's just not showing that, and we're not seeing that. There's many a times where you think, okay, he's one-on-one with the defender, he's gonna do something, and he just chooses the other option, which is not always the right thing. Sorry.
For me, that's fine. For me, it's not just the fact that he can take on players, etc. I think his playmaking ability is actually so underrated. He can switch a ball pretty much perfectly. His passing, his short passing, etc. is so good. So I don't think he has to just be on the pitch, stand up a man. I think he can sort of take on someone, but he doesn't have to fully take them on, as long as he gets that little bit of space to put a ball in, etc. Because we have got some height in there today with Havertz. I know it's not quite Lukaku, but I think still, in terms of crossing ability, he's got that. In terms of running down the line, cutting in, because I think this is what the left side gives him. I know people will think he always wants to cut in, but it'll be interesting to see if he can go down the line, cross with that left, put something in with that left as well. So I'm majorly excited to see him on that left flank, and we'll. I think he actually will come quite good today.
Okay, yeah. But coming back to you with a counter question there, Kishan. You and I talked about Reece's reluctance to take out his reluctance to take on opposition players. That has been a big problem. He's capable of doing it, but you and I, when we made a video about his profile, we talked about him not doing it enough, and he hasn't. It doesn't look like he's changed. And Lionel talked about penetration, how that is our ability to penetrate the Norwich defense even if they defend deep. Do you think he'd do something different today to help us penetrate the Norwich defense, even if they defend deep? Because it doesn't look like he'd help us solve the problem, except if maybe he has something in his locker that he's going to show us today that, okay, we'll go, wow, that's new.
Yeah, again, John, I don't expect him to be taking on players. And kind of similar what I said to Lionel about Hudson-Odoi is, as long as James has his own method of being effective, then maybe he might not always have to take on a man, because he's really good at overlapping and putting in really good crosses. So if he can do that, that will help with the defense that's been pinned back quite a lot with some of the height that we can get in. But one thing is, the only height I'm kind of seeing without Loftus-Cheek starting is Havertz. So I'm not too sure how effective crosses will be, and that'll be up to Reece to kind of come up with his own methods. He's good at really crossing the ball low, etc. as well. So as long as he can find a method of kind of interchanging with whoever else is playing on that right-hand side, and sometimes Chalobah will come forward with the ball as well. He's really good at driving with it. So I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. And at the end of the day, it's because we look at it as Norwich. I think regardless of who we've put out there, we should be rolling them over quite comfortably.
Should be.
Should be the key term. And I know we like to look at it a lot more advanced than that, because anyone can give you a game in the Premier League.
Right.
And that's what's really good about it. But with the quality that we've got, again, I come back to your question. I don't think Reece will, even over this season, be that kind of player who's going to take on players, etc. But if you look back to that performance against Arsenal, he wasn't beating players one-on-one, but he was arriving in the right positions to finish and to put in a beautiful cross along the floor for Lukaku to tap in. So if he can kind of replicate that kind of performance that he had, I think we don't necessarily always need him to take on a man. There are certain instances where we get frustrated when he doesn't do it, but he has his own way of being effective, and I think that'll sort of come to fruition over the course of the season.
Do you just to step in? Do you think that like he needs to be like a little bit more adventurous with his crossing and his passing? Because I think a lot of games will watch him when we are playing this possession style against a team that's going to sit back, and we're seeing back pass after back pass after back pass. I mean, you know, I think one thing is that Reece could really nail down that spot, you know, as like the number one, and then maybe have Aspie, if he needs to play, slip in as that right center back. But I think Reece just needs to show it, you know what I mean? And like you said, he's not necessarily going to take players on one-on-one, but he has a gifted right foot and he can use it. So, you know, let's see him make those progressive moves and those progressive passes, because I think that's when Chelsea gets in a rut, when they try to get at the ball to those wing backs and they're just kicking it back to the midfield. And then it's like, okay, let's start over. And then let's start over again.
Yeah.
And let's start over again. So it like, I don't know. Sorry to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I fully agree with you, because in terms of that point, under Lampard, he kind of had that spot nailed on, and Aspie was coming in whenever you had those kind of cup games or Champions League games that didn't mean as much. But he's not really differentiated himself to do that much more than Aspie can do, because even with crossing, I think Aspie's crossing ability is underrated, especially from that inside right position. You saw him cross for Lukaku, got that goal against Zenit. So he needs to do a lot more in those terms. But today, when he's been given a chance, he does need to be more adventurous with that passing ability. But sometimes when he was playing that right centre-back position, you saw what happens when he tried to be too adventurous and you pass through the middle of the pitch. The ball got nabbed and Tielemans put one in the top corner. And that was the one mistake he made all day. So I think it's about doing it cleverly. And some of these things, when you make a mistake like that, maybe that's one of the reasons he's extra cautious in the future. But yeah, I'm hoping similar, that he is a lot more, because you can see the potential in him. He needs to sort of be less scared with it and just do it, because when he passes back, we've got a lot of sort of pass back merchants, and you know how our midfield is with passing backwards as well. So yeah, we do want to see some more adventurous football for sure.
Yeah, great explanation right there. And also, I think you did mention something that's important to note, that with Callum Hudson-Odoi on the pitch, I think we shouldn't really be that much concerned about Reece's reluctance to take on opposition players. I think he will be important in all the aspects of his games, will be pivotal to our performance today. So while I go around the panel, I'd like to let the people in the chat that we will be doing the live giveaway in let's say in about 3 minutes. And the panel members can also participate. You just have to type in, make sure you have at least a comment in the chat, so that the software will add you to the draw. Coming to you, Dylan. Now, what do you think about the lack of experience on the right-hand side? Are you concerned, or you're the same as Kishan and Lionel?
Today I'm not concerned, and I think part of that is because that with Thiago Silva is there in the middle as the ultimate eraser for Trevor Chalobah if he does have a blunder. Overall, like when you look at Trevor, he does play as a more seasoned center back because of his experiences on loan. I believe, he's played some top football in France. He's played championships, so he's very familiar with doing that and whatnot. And like I said before too, Thiago Silva, I think, and him are going to be an excellent pairing back there. I think they'll be able to handle, Pukki and Sargent. Norwich is opting to play with a front two today. So they'll be looking to play off of each other and whatnot. And then once you bring in Rudiger as well, I think overall it's not going to be that big of a deal. And I think that you also have enough strength with Reece there to be able to push guys off the ball. I mean, there's no joke that Reece is just a physical, specimen. He's unreal. But yeah, no, I'm not too concerned against a team like Norwich. No disrespect. Just make sure that you have those erasers in Silva and
I
Rudiger
think we're
there.
getting too cocky in this, Chelsea.
That's always a concern for me.
The one
I don't
game I
don't care
remember,
about Norwich.
the one
and then
game
it's
I
gonna be
remember
like,
at this time is the 5-2 against West Brom, and that
right?
was exactly like this.
Yeah.
I think we all need to kind of just take all of that back and just be like, oh, you know what? All respect to Norwich. They might have a good game.
The one thing, Lionel, I will
Yeah.
say is with the 3 players out, I think everyone in that lineup kind of has a point to prove. And then you got Jorginho cover, and you've got sort of Kante, Ruben still there, so they need to prove that they want to be on the pitch. Chilwell still needs to carry on to nail on his spot over Alonso, etc. So I think everyone's still got a point to prove, which makes me more confident. Then sometimes these games they feel like rollovers because your team is like a well-oiled machine, just winning.
But I mean,
I think with us it's still a bit different.
For years, we've had this like trying to motivate our players. I think 3 or 4 managers have been like motivating our players to play in certain games is the toughest thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens at the Chelsea ground sometimes where you after a performance like we had midweek, they come out and they're just all very relaxed and I don't know.
I feel like actually, to be honest, that argument that you have would have been a great argument for starting Ruben and starting Cho, because you want guys that have a little bit of have a little bit of reason to give that extra 10% out there. And we got it with Cho, which is good, and I think he will come good. But you could also say the same for Havertz. I mean, Havertz is out there. This is his opportunity to get back in that starting 11 in whatever role it could be. I mean, you're going to have to force Thomas Tuchel to make decisions. And that's what Ruben has started to do, and that's what Trevor has started to do. So I think once you have those players on the pitch, you can kind of negate that a little bit.
Right.
But, like you said, it's a Premier League match. There's no easy wins anywhere, and anything could happen too. Knock on wood, there could be cards involved. There could be any injuries, we saw against West Brom last year in the first half. So it's definitely possible. It could go any way.
Yeah. Thank you again, Dylan, for chipping in there. So now, as I come to Helgi, please, if you're on the panel and you'd like to participate in the giveaway, all you need is just to add a comment to the chat section from YouTube, and it adds you to the draw. Coming to you, Helgi. Now, are you comfortable with the 2 guys on the right hand side, given the lack of experience there? You could argue. I know you could argue that Trevor has played enough game. He's garnered enough experience to stand his ground or against any attack in the Premier League or even in the Champions League. Are you concerned about the lack of experience there?
Well, I didn't interrupt before because I more or less agree with everything that was said. Like, age doesn't define experience and maturity. The most important thing is that we have 2 very composed youngsters in Chalo and Reece, and there is, I think, no point in calling them like players who have just broken through, and we have to take care of their progress and everything. They are already experienced. Both have had qualitative loan spells at Championship, and Trevor was also in France at Lorient. So this has made him a sharper player, a more comfortable one on and off the ball. He has shown the maturity. So I'm comfortable, at least in principle, with Tuchel's choices for the right hand side. So there is, from my side, absolutely no problem in that. Not only because we are playing Norwich today, as the guy said, that there is no easy game and no place to underestimate anyone in the Premier League due to the quality of every team. So I'm comfortable with the pairing at the right, and Tuchel has proved that he loves to put on the pitch a mixture of experienced and young players who can provide a balance between age and talent and composure. So I'm delighted with that. While regarding the second part of the discussion, it had to do with Reece's ability to dribble and cross. I think that we should consider first and foremost that Reese is primarily a defender, so the main responsibility on him in terms of dribbling is an extra, is a bonus thing, and his main duty is to keep the width of the pitch, which is too much of a responsibility when it comes to playing in a back three system, and he has done it very well whenever he has played in consistent manner. So he can provide the crosses we need and the width and the combination in tight areas so wide, and that's why I feel that his main duty is to do this, so to track back and double up with Chalo in today's case, also in other games with whoever is in the right center back place, and he has done it very well. And in terms of the attacking phase, he's there to provide passing options and to give his high or low crosses, which are considerably sharp. And we have to remember comparison from Joe Cole, I think it was 2 years ago, when he said that his crosses are similar to David Beckham's, and he has proved that he is that guy that can provide the right deliveries on the box. So this is his main responsibility, and I believe that we have quality players in that right hand side of the pitch. So I'm absolutely not disappointed with the selection, whether it is against Norwich and against whoever it is. I believe in them because they have proved that we should believe in them both on and off the ball. They are quality players and have proved to be very mature in all in all.
Yeah, thank you very much for that input right there. So let's quickly do the draw, and I very much understand your argument, Helgi. So we're fine, and like Kishan said, as long as we have Callum Hudson-Odoi on the pitch, was very direct in his play, in style, I think we're good. So now
John,
let's do the draw.
Sorry,
Yes.
I was just going to say one more thing with how we were speaking about Ruben. Tuchel just made comments saying Ruben is very likely to come on, and he did deserve the start, but he just went in to say he will probably come on.
Just like you guys argued, I think it was Dylan who said that we'll probably see him sometime in the game. So great shout there from and thank you for updating us on that, Kishan. So let's do the draw and see who is going to be the winner. Can we all see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go. Good luck to everyone. The draw.
Definitely my name. Right there. Come on. Oh, come on. No. Yes.
Oh.
No.
So Steve Chelsea is the winner of the giveaway today, and it depends on his location. If it's in the UK or the US, he gets the authentic polo shirt. If it's outside, if it's somewhere in Africa, he gets around $50, which is the equivalent of the authentic polo shirt. So congratulations to you, Steve Chelsea, and I hope you enjoy the giveaway that you've won. And sorry to every other person who didn't win. This is going to be a constant thing. We're going to be doing that twice a month. So congratulations again to Steve Chelsea.
I think it was rigged.
You are the winner of the giveaway. So now let's move quickly because we have just a few minutes and we must round up before the game starts. Let's quickly, I think we're good on the left-hand side. Chilwell has been in great form. And Rudiger, no question about his inclusion. So let's just switch to the double pivot, the 2-6-6. And first, before we continue, I have an argument, and I haven't discussed that. My question with any of you guys are on the panel right now. The question is, why do we play 2-6s when one person in that sixth position will suffice, and then give us the opportunity to have one more player in the attack? What do you think, Lionel?
I think it's a security thing. I mean, you are right. When you do watch the game as it goes, if you have Jorginho or you have Kovacic, I mean, Kovacic is basically playing as an attacking midfielder at most points. But the job is to come back and protect, right? Is to be in front of the defender. So at times he does do that, but with Kovacic, sometimes, you know, he takes risks with his tackling. That's why you see him getting a lot of yellow cards and things like that. But I think it's just, from my understanding anyway, it's more of a protection thing than it is anything else.
A good argument right there, because if you look at it, we have the left wing back and the right wing back. They're always bumping forward, and with the 2 6s, if at any stage in our attacking process we lose the ball, you see either Kovacic or Jorginho drift to the right or left to cover the spaces that the wing backs left behind. Coming to you, Kishan, would you rather have that security or just play one person in that position, because a person will suffice, and then we have the opportunity of playing adding one more person to the attack? What do you think about playing 2 6s when one person alone will suffice in that position?
I think if you're losing in the game and you're going desperately out for it, then you do it. But I think we've previously, with previous managers, we know that none of these kind of players that we've got work as a fully loaned DM, and they've all got their limitations. And this is why they work so well together, because they kind of all protect each other. And this is one of the reasons we don't even go to a 4 at the back, because we don't really have the perfect profiles for 2 6s when we're playing with 4, because athletically you have players like Jorginho, it's just not really going to work. So for now, I agree exactly with Lionel, is to protect everyone, and we found a system that works. Does it take away a bit from the attack? Most probably it does, but I still think overall today we'll have enough. You just have to hope that those two in midfield keep the ball moving, because there's some games where I've seen with both of them and we've utterly dominated. I think the one that I remember is Crystal Palace 4-1 away last season, and that was just relentless. If we can get back to them, then we'll stop the questioning with these guys. But it's not, I do get you, John, because it's not the most glamorous midfield when you look at some of the players that we've previously had. But for now, it works. So if it works, just keep going with it.
Yeah, it's worked, and you could argue the two guys in the double 6 position, they have somewhat telepathic connection between them. But my only concern is usually when you have them both, we have some measure of sacrifice defensive wise, because N'Golo Kante is the person that when he's on the pitch, if he's paired with Kovacic, he protects him. If he's paired with Jorginho, he protects him. He helps, masks the lack of defensive, you could say, solidity in those two players there. But that's, by the way, I think we'll be taking this one by one. I will come to you, Dylan, with question regarding the 2 8s. Do you think we have the best pair in there? Because we have somebody like Bakley on the bench who can also play as number 8. Ruben Loftus-Cheek who can also play as number 8. And those guys are fine finishers. They can shoot from outside the 18. While and also you could argue that Callum Hudson-Odoi and also Mount, they're shooting on that perfect. I think there's still something they need to refine to become better at their shooting. So what do you think? Are you okay with the 2 8s there or 2 10, depending on the application?
Yeah, I mean, I think that you didn't really have many other options, to be honest with you, just in terms of injuries and whatnot. I believe Ziyech isn't ready with his shoulder and whatnot. I can't remember if he's on the bench or not. But anyways, I'm not too concerned about our 8s. I think they'll be fine together. I'm so excited for the Hudson-Odoi and Havertz link up to continue to grow. I just think that they have chemistry the second that you see them out there together. I just want Callum to be progressive. I want Mount as well to take his chances too. He's a fine shooter. He's a fine passer. Let's take some chances this game. I mean, you have solidity behind you with Jorginho and Kovacic and then our back 3. Take some chances. Take some risks. Let's get it a goal early, I think is super important. You don't want this game to drag on 0-0. Now you're in the 50th minute and you're like, oh, well, now we got to make changes. Now we got to get everything, back in order. So let's get a goal right away. I think that Callum will come good today. I think, as Kishan said. So yeah, I'm not too concerned. I think they're just gonna, walk in and do well. I mean, like we said, can't discredit Norwich, but I think Callum Hudson-Odoi has something to prove, and I think Mason Mount has something to prove also. He hasn't had his best run of games recently. He looked a little bit better, against Malmo, but this is a huge game for Mason Mount as well.
Yeah, I hope he does. I hope Callum comes good, like you said. That's important. That would be pivotal to us winning the game, given that he's one of the 8 or 10, like I said before, depending on the application. So Helgi, coming to you quickly before we round off, what do you think about the attacking 3, the 2 8s or 10s? It depends on how you see it. And Havertz as the number 9. Are you fine with it? Do you think they will get us result today?
Yeah, excluding Golo, I think this is like a predictable choice. No one could have expected Barkley or Saul or whoever to start above Kovacic and maybe the 2 inverted forwards, Mount and Odoi. So even though they may have more eye for the goal, but they are the most informed players, like the players that we have in our today's lineup in terms of creating chances and disrupting Norwich defense. I believe that they are the right choices because we should see the shape of the other players who could have played and they aren't at their best, like Ziyech and maybe like Barkley, who, if he could be deployed behind the striker. While regarding the number 9, I feel that it's the only choice. Even if you could see the bench, we have no other number 9, and it's good to see that Tuchel consider Havertz as a 9 because even in my opinion, his best position is to play up front. He's not the typical striker who can take everything by storm himself and create chances from deep, but he's kind of Robin van Persie-like player who likes to be acrobatic and to be a finisher in terms of his flexibility, and his attacking movements were very fluid, and he likes to like combine shortly with the guys in and around him. So I'm delighted with the choices. They were obvious ones, and yeah, this is it.
So thank you. Overall, what do you think will be the outcome of the game? Just 10 seconds. Or less.
3-0.
Dominant win for me.
Kishan, how about you?
I'm going 2-0 Chelsea.
How about you, Helgi?
I can't predict a specific
no problem.
score, but I expect a dominant win.
How about you, Dylan?
Maybe something similar to Malmo.
Okay, do we have 2 people? You said 3-0, Dylan?
Yep.
3-0 you. Okay, if your prediction is correct, I will donate $50 to your favorite charity and hold me responsible. Yeah.
Cool.
So thank you guys for finding time to be here and presenting this team analysis with me. It's been a pleasure. You know how much I love you, Lionel, and you, Kishan, you, Helgi, and Dylan. I love you guys so much, and I appreciate you finding time to present this with me. And hopefully it will be a good day for us. And I will leave your complete information in the description section so that whoever gets to watch the video will find out who you are, because you guys have been amazing. So thank you again, and I hope it's a win for us today. And remember, if you predicted it correctly, if 2 people predicted it correctly, then I'll be spending $100 donation to your favorite charity organization. So yeah, thank you again, guys. And
thank you.
So much appreciation to everybody in the chat, from Steve Chelsea, Just Viola, Data, Almighty Blue CFC, MCIG, and if you're left out, my apologies. I'm only a human being. So thank you guys, and bye for now.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.